Hi there guys, Tom Quayle here. Hope you're all doing very well indeed and you enjoyed that opening track. That was all recorded using this, the Torpedo C.A.B M from 2 Notes. Awesome little cabinet simulator, mic simulator, IR loader. It's just fantastic. This thing is designed in a small pedal format to do everything you would need to get the sound of your amp or preamp or pedal board directly into your DAW or into a front of house PA or mixing desk very, very easily with awesome sound using 2 Notes' very famous now IR technology and convolution technology. So you've got in this tiny little box 32 different cabs, 8 different mics. You've got EQs, reverbs, there's just so much stuff going on in here and it's built like a tank and very, very easy to use. So the idea with this is it differs from the original C.A.B or C.A.B that 2 Notes released quite a few years ago, which was really the first pedal format convolution-based technology that you could use with your pedal board to get amp-like sounds. Now the difference with this is, first of all, it's a fully fledged IR loader, but secondly, and much more importantly, there is an input here for your amplifier. Now it's important to note that this is not a load box. So you can't just plug your amp in here and not have it connected to a speaker or to some kind of load box because you will kill your amplifier. Very, very important to say. However, if you look on the side panel here, you will see that there is an input for the amp and then there is an output for a speaker. Now that could go to a load box, as I say, or it could go to an existing cab on stage. Then you could take, on the other side, you'll see there is a DI out and a line out that you can use to send to your audio interface or for your DAW or to a mixing desk or front of house. Then you can use 2 Notes' amazing convolution technology with mic placement, room simulation, power amp simulation as well if you're using a preamp. You can model different tubes in there. You can run EQs for bass or guitar or custom EQ styles. You can even reposition the microphones on the cabinet. You can have up to 2 mics. There's 8 different mics in there, as I mentioned. So you've got things like the Royal 121, the SM57. There's just so many different classic combinations that you can get in there. Very, very easy to use. Just 2 dials required to do everything. There's a really nice redesigned menu system in here, but everything that you can do on the unit, you can also do using a remote control. So you can use either an iPad or an Android-based mobile device or an iOS-based mobile device and connect via Bluetooth, which is very easy to do. And then we'll do that later in the video. Or you can use the USB socket, which you can see on the side just there. And that USB socket will allow you to connect to your computer, either Mac or PC, download the software for free, and then you can access all of the functions for the pedal, save presets on your computer, save presets on your iOS or Android device, and upload those back to the unit. There's also, on the side there, you've got a headphone socket and an auxiliary input as well for practicing, which is super cool. A level selector for if you're running a high wattage amplifier into the side of this unit. We will do that as well. So the way I'm going to demo this is I'm going to do a few different setups. So we're going to use initially a Mesa Boogie Studio preamp, which is a rack mount preamp, which is behind me, just down there. We're going to plug that directly into here and use the power amp simulation on this unit to get all of our sounds. We're then going to run the 2 Notes Clean preamp. So that's this thing. Okay, 2 Notes sent me one of these as well, which is great. I've done a demo of this on my channel before. This is a tube-based 2-channel preamp. We're going to use this to get some great sounds with my pedal board in the front. We're also going to utilize my Laney amps are being serviced at the moment, but I have a Friedman Dirty Shirley here. We're going to run that straight into the unit, and then we're going to run out into a load box, and we're going to record the Dirty Shirley using this with a load box as well. We're going to use the Torpedo Reload load box to do that with as well, so that we don't have any issues running a load. So there's a few different setups we're going to use, and they sound great. You'll be very surprised. And then I'll walk you through the remote control software as well, Torpedo Remote. So let's get started now. We'll start with the Boogie, and I'll plug everything in and I'll explain the signal chain as well. Okay, so here's our interface on the iPad. You can use Android or you can use a USB connection to go to a computer as well if you want, Mac or Windows. This is Torpedo Remote. There's 3 modes for this software. It connects via Bluetooth to the iPad here. We've got Arcade, which is a simplified version to get you going really, really quickly, just the basic features. Simulation mode, which is what I'm in now for all the control. Then there's the IR loader mode for loading in your custom IRs. Everything you can do on the app, you can do on the unit as well. But I'm going to show you everything on the app here because it's a lot nicer to look at. Obviously, you've got the connection button for connecting as well. So on this screen here, this is the simulation mode. You've got your power amp section at the top, which I've got on, and I'll explain why in a second. We've got our EQ section, which can be set for guitar, bass, or custom modes for different bands of EQ. We've got our reverb. There's multiple different reverb types, as you can see. Then we've got our microphone section here, 2 different mics, front or back, distance and on-axis or off-axis depending on what you want. A mixer with mute and phase buttons as well, phase reverse buttons. Preset level, and then our output level with the mute. And then on the right-hand side, we've got an indication, a graphic indication of our room that we're in, and we can switch different cabs from here as well. And we've also got an indication visually of where our microphone is, whether the mic's on the front or the back, and then our preset section where we can choose our cabs and choose our different presets. So let's get going. So what I've got here in terms of the setup, this sound is basically my guitar plugged into my pedal board, and the dual fusion, the 1+ dual fusion is on. Everything else is off. It's providing all the drive. That's then going into the clean preamp pedal on channel B, just because there's more EQ controls, but that's set pretty clean. Then that's going into the C.A.B M, which is going direct into my audio interface in mono. Okay, so that's why I've got the power amp on. If I switch the power amp off, that is what that's doing for the sound. That's amazing. So the first thing we'll look at is the power amp section. And you can select between 6L6, EL34, EL84 or KT88s. Then you've got SE and PP. So basically the PP is going to give you a presence control as well as the depth. And then you can choose pentode or triode. I absolutely love the EL84, I think it sounds amazing. Now obviously as we increase the volume we're getting more power tube saturation, so we have to bring the preset level down as a result. Whoops. What a crazy, enormous difference that makes. It's amazing. So you've got the depth and presence controls on there as well, which you can fiddle with. Next, you've got an EQ section. So this is tailored for guitar at the moment. So as you can see, we've got basically 5 different bands, and it works as you'd expect. So if we want to boost 2K, bring that up. So that's super useful to have as well. And then the reverb. Now this is designed not as like a long-tailed kind of reverb that you would use for ambient effects. It's more to sit a guitar in a particular room, and you can see the room that we've got here. So if I click on basement, for instance, you see the actual graphics update. If I go for, whoops, my iPad's flopping around. If I go for the cathedral, so they do get quite big. Fantastic sounds. Loft. So the reverb section's great, really, really nice. It helps to kind of give the a sound that is basically existing purely in the digital space, to give it some real life space, if you like, to sit it in a room, which is fantastic. So we'll stick with loft for the minute. I'll just bring the mix down a little bit more because you do get a lot for your money here. Okay, just a touch more. Let's go up to 10%. There we go. So now the mic section. Of course, you can do all of this in the arcade mode as well, but it's a much easier interface. I'll show you it in a second. So the mics, you've got a ton of different mics here. Condenser 87, 201, ribbon, mic 121, that's a Royer obviously, Dynamic 7B, 57, SM57, 421, and then you've got a couple of bass mics as well. So choosing a mic is as simple as just grabbing whatever you want. Changing the level of it using these controls here, and then the distance, so we can model proximity effects or not. And you can choose, if you've got different distances and you've got phase issues, you can work out what you need to do in terms of phase to actually get this to work, which is kind of cool as well. And then we've got off and on axis. So if I put both of these fully on axis, you'll see that they actually update on the speaker. This is obviously a 4x12. Very, very cool indeed. Let's bring those back down and check out the proximity effect. Very, very cool indeed. Then you've got preset level, and you also have obviously the output level, the overall output level that's not per preset. Now, of course, within all of this, you can then go into your cabs here, and you can select all of the different cabs. Now, this will depend on what you've bought from the Two Notes store. So if we go for free rock here, which is obviously like a 2 rock. So we can change the mics up here if we want to. Let's go for a 57 and a Royal 121. So let's change up and try something with a clean tone. So if we go for warm, lush tone preamp on, let's turn off the dual fusion. Let's go to channel A on the clean, and I'll go to my position 4 pickup. Now I can turn on my timeline and my reverb. And I can get sounds like this, which you heard in the demos for each of the different setups. Very, very tasty indeed. Now, if we go to, just really quickly show you arcade mode, we've got sort of similar things here, but everything is kind of condensed. So we've got power amp, cold or hot or off. We've got tone, dark or bright. So there's no full EQ. Then we've got distance for our microphone rather than axis as well. And then contour, vintage or modern. So that's obviously shaping EQ and possibly where the microphone is actually positioned as well. So I'll show you this. We'll do this with the dual fusion on again, and we will go to channel B. Let's turn off the timeline and the big sky. So if we increase the power amp volume, and then change the brightness. We've also got the contour, so vintage. So you can change that. We've got preset level and output level. Now you also have the option to change the room. So if we set this to far, whoops. Very nice interface, it looks great. Then you can change the cab, and you can change the microphone. Okay, so final thing to show you with this, let's just go back to simulation mode. Okay, so we've got presets here. Let's go back to our classic rock preset. Now, if you wanted to, what you could now do is you could come into the IR loader, and now on the right-hand side, you've got your different IRs that you could load. Now you could click on here. Now I don't have any, so it's not gonna work. I've not loaded any custom IRs in, but there's the memory card in the back and you can load custom IRs in there. From Celestion, Ownhammer, Redwires, whatever. They've got to be WAV and they have to be 48 kilohertz. You could load those in and utilize those instead of the inbuilt IRs and mics and so on and so forth. The thing is though, guys, you could totally do that and it sounds amazing, but the IRs that are in here and the convolution technology that's in here is so good that you may find you just don't need to do that at all. But it's there if you want to do it. So it's a great app, very, very nice to use, great functionality, very, very easy to use as well. So yeah, great thing. So there we go, guys. Hope you enjoyed that overview of the app. So there we have it, guys, the fantastic 2-Notes C.A.B M. You can check this thing out in the link below. That'll take you through to 2-Notes' website and you can check out this fantastic unit and purchase them all over the place as well. I think this is amazing. I'm going to use this in all sorts of productions in the future. I will see you all in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.